take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. I am your host, Honest
Wait, we have to cut you out. We have to cut you off. Your mic is all messed up. Right, Alex? Is it just me?
Yeah, way to kill the vibe, Paul.
Is it just Paul?
No, it's you.
Oh, it is
It's
me.
you.
It's you.
Go ahead, unplug your mic and plug it back in.
My mic got messed up. My mic got messed up between the green room and now. Between the green room and now.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just take it off and
Yeah,
unplug it
you
and
know,
plug
don't
it back
mind
in.
us here. Plug it in, plug it out.
Any better?
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's 1,000% better.
All right, wait, let's do it again. Ready? All right, here you go, Abe.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. I am your host, Honest Abe, and we are broadcasting this episode number 456 of KMA Talk Radio from sunny South Florida. I'm here with my trusted gang, as always, the Italian scallion himself, the man we call Shameless Paul. Wow, that's a pretty colorful background there, Paul.
Cadbury eggs, man. It's Easter in my house today.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll talk about that.
and as always, the man to put Paul straight, our buddy, the man they call the GOAT, Alex Tavella.
Good morning. Again.
Genitalia, how we doing today?
We're doing.
Good.
We're doing. Paul, happy Easter to you and you only, apparently.
Yes.
Listen, everybody's giving me a hard time, but we did Easter in our house this morning, you know, the Easter baskets and finding the eggs and stuff with the kids, because tomorrow we're going on the cruise and we just want to be able to get out of here on time. So.
I just want to get this straight. Like, you got Easter out of the way as an inconvenient thing. Like,
Yeah.
first hour you woke up.
Yes. Jesus rose a day early for Paul.
Well, listen, I don't really have an excuse. I didn't look at it that way. We're going to still celebrate tomorrow. We're going to see family tomorrow on the cruise, but the kids are going to delay. Yeah, exactly. Listen, this is probably the only year we can really get away with it, I think. Like, next year, Axel's going to be like, wait a second, isn't Easter supposed to be on a Sunday? So why not?
Okay.
That's more convenient.
Whatever you say, Paul.
All right.
Whatever you
Is
say.
it such a bad thing?
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like, you know, I don't know. I feel like Santa wouldn't come a day early, right?
I mean, that's a good point. Time out. That's a good point. Would you do Christmas a day early? Would you do New Year's Eve a day early? So Easter is just the unlucky holiday.
Or is it over for him?
Who's him?
Is it over for him? And you, Abe,
What?
you have a guest that we can't see. Is it over for him?
Oh, yeah, he's out of the room. He just walked
okay.
to the bathroom.
I didn't want to blow Christmas if he.
Yeah, true. Asher's over there.
I didn't want to blow up Santa for Asher on
God,
Saturday
yeah.
night.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Yeah.
It would be a whole
Turned around
different
like,
show.
what?
Listen, I've done worse. I tell you how I blew.
Yeah, you did. That's a great story.
I've done worse. Petra came to me one day and she's like, I know Mom's a tooth fairy. I'm like,
Wait a minute. Where is he?
No, he's not here.
Where is he? Is
He
he
went
out
to
there?
the bathroom. He probably went to
Be
the
careful
bathroom.
because it's on out there too. I'm just saying.
Oh. Anyways, he busts his bubble. He ain't listening. That kid doesn't listen when I talk to him directly. You think he's paying attention to ambient sound in the background?
I was gonna say, when you're standing in front of him, staring him eye to eye, they don't listen to you. So
seriously. So she came in and she figured out the whole, tooth fairy thing, Mom. And I think, okay, well, listen, you've reached that age. Now you have the responsibility, right? Now you have to do what the grown-ups do and make sure that you let your younger brothers
and lie to the children.
Continue the whole thing of the magic of, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. And she goes, Santa Claus is not real? I went, oh my God. I mean, I just figured
Figured one fall, they all fall, right? But
yeah, I mean, I figured she put two and two together, and that's how I broke it to her.
Hey, look at this. The man himself is on the move around the country, huh? Good morning,
Oh,
Rob.
the old man's in West Virginia. He's
He's
back.
on vacation too.
He went to go visit my uncle in West Virginia.
Oh, nice.
My uncle's recovering. He was in the hospital for a while. Stopping by to say, check him out, see how he's doing. Give my regards to the doctor. He is literally a doctor.
So yes, I'm answering your question now. Would we do Christmas early at this age? Probably. If we had something to do on
Really?
Christmas and we were going away, why not? What do they get? They're not going to know the difference.
What do you mean?
So you don't care that you know the difference?
No. What do you mean? Who cares? If we're going on an international flight on Christmas Day at 8:00 in the morning, would I rather them have a real Christmas morning the day before? Yeah, why not?
How do you explain this to your children? I'm just curious.
Dude, they're 3 and 2. Axel's gonna be 4 in July. There's no explaining. I told him last night before he went to bed, the Easter Bunny's coming tonight. He goes, "Tomorrow's Easter?" I said, "Yep." That's it. What do you mean? How do I explain it to them? Their reality is what I tell them it is right now until they get another year, I guess, is when it changes.
Wait a minute. So you're going on a cruise tomorrow, right? With the kids? And I assume tomorrow, at some point,
On the ship.
someone on the ship, someone may say,
Not say, will.
yeah. And what happens when your kid goes?
Oh, it's just like Christmas time.
Yesterday.
A week before Christmas, a week after Christmas, everybody says Merry Christmas. So that's Happy Easter.
Wait till the ship has an Easter bunny going down the corridors.
How much you want to bet he doesn't question it?
I know he won't. He's your son.
He's 3. It's not like he's 6 years old questioning everything. I mean, he does ask why I tell him things all the time, but today's Easter. What's the problem? I mean, listen, if he really questions it, will I lie to him still? No, I'll tell him, well,
Absolutely
because we're going on the ship today.
Absolutely.
No, I'll tell him today's actually Easter, but the Easter Bunny came early for us.
Such privilege.
Such privilege. What
Easter
privilege?
Easter privilege. The Easter Bunny comes a day early for our family.
He's training them to be young aristocrats. Leave them alone.
Oh, here we go. Speaking of the aristocrats, we didn't mention it last week, but Gilbert Gottfried passed away.
It was this week, yeah. My favorite.
Oh, it was this week. Okay.
The best version of the aristocrats. Maybe Bob
by
Saget
far.
number 2. Maybe Bob Saget number 2, but
Yeah. So Gilbert passed away, which was a shock.
Not that
to
old.
a lot of people, but
At a young
no.
age.
And you know what though? When we saw him in West Palm the last time he was here, right before the pandemic, he was always like a frail guy. He had a lot of illness in his life, I guess, and he was he couldn't get up the steps to the stage. It took him 5 minutes to get up those 4 steps to the stage, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago. But he was a really nice guy. I got to meet him. We talked to him for about 5 or 10 minutes, actually.
really
cool guy.
I've been told that if you took Joe Pesci and Gilbert Gottfried and put them together, you'd get me. That's what I've been told in life.
That's interesting.
I don't know if I see the obnoxiousness of Gilbert Gottfried in you, but
This could
I'm just
never-
being a
You've
gentleman.
never seen me torture my wife.
This could be
Okay.
this could be a new segment here. What 2 personalities make you up the best? This might be a good
Which side is coming out today?
a good future segment.
I wonder how Coop feels about you, about people saying you're like Joe Pesci. Wonder if that changes his opinion of you. He's not a Joe Pesci fan.
Coop is not a fan. Literally, because of one movie.
Which movie was it?
Yeah, it's strange.
What's the Danny Glover movie?
Danny Glover. Oh, it's Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon.
I do start with Danny Glover instead of Mel
Getz.
Gibson.
What's his name? Getz. Something Getz in the movie.
Leo Getz.
Leo Getz.
You want Leo Getz?
Yeah.
Well, while we're bringing up Coop, Coop was one of a few people that talked about your secret trip to Texas. Why don't you reveal the details about that?
You started this secret trip to Texas thing.
I just report the news. Nobody knew you were going
Your
anywhere.
reporting of the news was, no invite. Thanks for the invite. It wasn't a KMA.
I love that area.
Number one.
Fort Worth
Number
is
two,
one of my favorite places to visit.
It was a secret trip, as it was kept secret from the men of the Phoenix Lounge who didn't know that we were coming.
So James had already touted the bill that he had something very special. They gather the second Sunday of every month. So James
Is it his house or is it in like a?
It's in his house.
Yes, it's
Okay.
it's in it. Yes, it's a lounge, and yes, it's in his house. Yes, and yes.
And you know what's funny is I saw some people make posts about how it was great that one retailer could show love to another retailer. A lot of people, and this is what I thought when I first saw these posts. They think he's a retailer. He's not a cigar retailer.
Wow.
That's not a retail lounge.
It looks like a retail lounge.
It looks better. It looks better than some retail. A lot of retail lounges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of the ones I used to go to on Long Island, it looks way better.
But the guys get together in a very beautiful fashion the second Sunday of every month, and he had told them that he had a very special guest this Sunday. So he had prepped it up so we knew if we posted anything about being on a plane, traveling anywhere, they would have
known.
Yeah. Now the coolest thing was, and I wish I had known because I would have filmed it, but the first person that arrived was Sean O'Connor, and Sean, big guy, was bringing in food. So he's unloading the car, and I said, let me go mess with him, because James had gone out to help him carry something. So I just started hopping out, and James like tell him, hey, I got another person to help us out. And his head was in the trunk, and he didn't see me. And I just coming out, and he hasn't seen me yet. So I finally said, what you got for me to help? And he looked up. He was in such awe. It was like the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Like, I'm not kidding you. He started hyperventilating because we were there. It was awesome. Literally, he really started hyperventilating. I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Oh my God.
Pride the hell out of him. But the guys were great. We had an awesome weekend there. I mean, this literally the epitome, the personification of what the cigar culture is literally about. We witnessed there. And it's one of the things that, we've been doing for 25 years. That's what we love about those guys. And then we went on to have a really cool day with the fine folks in McAuliffe all day Monday. So pretty good 2 back-to-back days for us in Texas.
Except for one moment.
What was? Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh God,
we have to talk about that.
So we're
Alex
driving.
had an almost a near-death experience or something.
Well, you'll understand.
Okay.
Alex, first off, Alex is not really a great co-pilot. Like, you're in an area that you've never been before. You're trying to watch nav. So he'll hop in at like moments of desperation and start like helping you nav. Make a right here, make a left here. So he tells me make a right here, but he makes me make a right in an off lane. It was a bus lane. So we were like further to the right than we should have been for traffic, but we just had to make another right. As we're coming up to the intersection, this big 18-wheeler, like monster truck, is really coming into the intersection as we coming there. And I see the trucker, but I guess Alex, for whatever reason, just thinks I don't see it. And doesn't yell stop, doesn't scream. He just sits there and goes, oh God. And it did. And I literally turned to him like, did your life just flash before you? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, it was just like a moment of like, it's it. He just signed off life. Nothing to prevent the situation. Just, oh God.
There's nothing I can do now.
It was just done. It was done. I think we laughed for about 10, 15 minutes.
We did. In fairness, Paul, you've driven with Abe.
Yes, and it's a fair assumption that he didn't see it.
It's a fair assumption. Not only that, but in fairness, I was co-piloting because your Maps app wasn't working the greatest out in Texas.
Both of them weren't. All you were doing was bitching every time. Missing turn. You were like, oh, it just blew that past that intersection. The whole Maps on the phone.
Wasn't catching up. But even you, like the day we were leaving, we put in the same address. You were 40 minutes away from where I was going.
20 minutes away, literally.
Same address. It had him going somewhere.
We're going, and he keeps telling me make a right. I said, mine doesn't see make a right. Make a left. Mine doesn't see make a left. It's crazy. So we just followed it to get there, and then my map's showing us the same address that we keyed in is another 20 minutes away.
But what was happening was it wasn't like updating the GPS fast enough, so you'd be driving, and then like next thing you know, it catches up, and you got 2 seconds to make a right. Like, oh.
Right. That's happened to me before. Wow.
But I'm like, if you really were afraid of your life, why wouldn't you say stop or look or be careful? He just, oh God, that's all. Oh God.
I figured that would get the point across.
No, that doesn't get the point across. And listen, just so you know, this wasn't a scream. Like, it wasn't a shout. It was just like literally a whimper.
No, oh God.
Oh God.
That's a man coming to grips with his reality.
Yeah,
and his
literally.
destiny.
reality right now, right here. It's over.
Literally.
But he's thinking in his head, shit, this is how I go, huh? With Abe in his car?
In Texas,
Great.
yeah,
In Texas with an 18-wheeler.
in a rental car.
Yeah, that car would have went right underneath that rig.
Absolutely, it wasn't your car.
No, would have went right.
Oh, even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Not the way.
I
His only hope of surviving would have been that my body would have like held it up a little bit. He might have had like a crack of room,
Right.
Underneath. The crushing of my skeleton might have saved him.
But,
your rib cage.
Right?
Yeah, that was a laughable moment. We cracked up. We
Oh,
cracked
man.
up. I don't even know where the hell we were
Funny
going at that
reaction.
point.
Oh my God, it was so genuine. Like literally, like, we're dead. It's over. No point.
Wow.
What am I smoking, Rick? Of course, what are we smoking? Epinay. But bro, you grabbed me a big stick today. It's like a Churchill.
Oh, but that's right around your size, though. That excellence.
Big stick. So what else we got going on? Camel knowledge.
Oh yes.
Oh, what the hell? This is
Yeah,
what. See, now we were
have to
talking
preface-
about something.
We have to preface this because
Yeah,
there's a part of the
how did we
show-
get on Camel Talk the other
there's
day?
a part of the show that people miss out on, and that's when we do our meetings on
Our
Thursday
prep.
or Friday, our prep meetings. And the banter there is probably better than the banter here, to be honest, because it's
Sometimes.
So I think we were talking about your trip
Yes.
and getting on a camel, and then Paul.
Oh yeah, you looked up the weight capacity of camels.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it can ride one.
Yes.
They hold up to 800 pounds.
Yeah.
900 pounds.
500. 500.
Then
No,
began-
900 or 600. 600.
Yeah, no, it was like 900.
600.
800, 900.
600.
And then Paul just began spewing his camel knowledge on us. And
Yeah.
what was it called when the camel?
Kush. If you say Kush, the camel sits down and like lays on its belly because they have a little pad, like a calloused pad on their belly when they go down on the ground and on their knees. That's how you get up on there. Kush means go down. What else did we talk? We talked about how guys in the desert,
Eat the
yeah,
poop.
they used to eat their poop. Their poop looks like raisinets, and it apparently it
That
has
big animal
healing
makes
properties.
raisinette poops.
I know, right? That giant animal. They're like goats.
should-
They shoot little pellets.
They should crossbreed them with dogs just for the genetics of that, man. I've had chihuahuas
Oh, that'd
shoot
be great.
chicken logs out. I mean, what's with dogs and poop? I mean, seriously. You
Yeah.
tell me this big camel shoots raisinets?
Yeah, it looks kind of like malted milk balls from what I've seen. Like they're almost perfectly round, actually. Pretty easy cleanup, like a giraffe. Giraffes do as well. Giraffe poop is like a malted milk ball.
And why would they eat them?
I don't remember exactly. I read it somewhere, but it had to do with when they were in the desert. There were certain diseases they could get. There's nutrients in them, I guess, that the camels don't fully digest that can help them somehow. It can. They believe, some people believe it heals illnesses, and you can also drink their milk, which we learned from an episode of Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
So I just want to be clear. Where does this camel knowledge come from? Were you up
You
late?
know, I
one
watch a
night?
lot of.
National Geographic
I
channel?
watch a lot of I watch a lot of TV, man. I do watch a lot of TV. I don't remember specifically. I mean, that Dirty Jobs episode was very enlightening when he went to a camel farm. But I like inconspicuous things because, believe it or not, I'm slightly introverted in person when I meet new people. So I like to have like a buttload of things that I can pull from to like talk about. If somebody brought up a camel and I'm in a group of people I don't even know, boom, look, I'm set. I have a list of things we can talk about now.
Wow, so he was saving that camel knowledge just for yesterday.
I save a lot of useless knowledge.
It worked. It worked. I don't know how long he's been holding on to it, but
Probably
it
held
worked.
on it for years. Someday someone's going to talk to me about a camel.
Yeah,
I'll
Paul's
be
he's a real Renaissance man.
I mean, I don't think about it that way, but I think about I'm fascinated by certain facts. So I don't know, some of those facts fascinate me. A camel's not an animal that I've had a lot of interaction with. Believe it or not, I've had a lot of interaction with giraffes lately, though, because we live so far west. Yeah, we feed the giraffes like once a week in this house at Lion Country Safari.
So you just go to the Lion Country Safari once a week? I lived in Florida 20 years.
We have
once.
Yeah, well, we live very close, and when there's like a day where the kids are going insane, and we want to get them out of the house. They have like a little theme park with rides. You can walk up and feed the giraffes. They love it. So it's 5 minutes. Well, you have to drive all the way down. So 10 minutes down the road here. It's great. We have season passes.
Yeah.
And before you get all bougie on me, the season passes are like $70 for the year or something.
So yeah, one of the things, many things that JMac makes, the silicone division of, well, I mean, the other company that the McAuliffe people own and run, is a silicone milkers for camels, Paul. We're going to have to send you a little set of those silicone milkers.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I could use that.
You
know what's funny about their company? So many products cannot be made without the products that JMac makes. I did a lot of research the first time we had Al on. It's unbelievable.
We witnessed it firsthand, and you can ask Alex, man. My intrigue and curiosity walking through the factory might have been one of the most interesting parts of my trip.
And their company revolutionized being able to, I believe it's reuse product.
We were there.
And, I mean, they do it faster than everybody else. Yeah, it's amazing. I read a lot about JMac.
We were there. We were there.
It was literally one of 3 companies in the U.S. that produced it. In fact, where is my little?
What do you have a bunch of? Hey, maybe I should have asked you to get some. I need some new seals, new gaskets for my power washer. One of those.
Look at this. It coated the other one. So one of the cool things was I took a whole piece of raw silicone and processed it was made, but it wasn't like processed yet or whatever they call it. They have such cool names for everything. I took it right off the assembly line because I became fixated with it, brought it back with me. And then they have a durameter, if I said the word right, different ones that have different durometer.
Hold it up so we can see it.
Yeah.
So this is the one, if anybody saw my post with the Sasquatch, I literally just rolled it up into a ball. I left it on his head and went home, and the next day I came in, and that's what happened to the Sasquatch. But this is all silicone that we bought back from the JMac factory, from the McAuliffe.
So just to put it in perspective, so we had a very informative day with McAuliffe, we spent the first half of the day talking with them in their offices, and then we took a break in the middle of the day and went over to see the JMac facility, which is incredible. And then we went back over into the McAuliffe offices, and I don't think that Abe probably paid attention to anything in the second half of the day because he was fixated.
I did. I just kept playing with and I'll do it now unless I put it away.
And it was interesting because he had that black puckish silicone, and they actually made a call to get him the other type. And the woman came in the room and said, "Here's the who's this for?" And he went, "The big kid in the room."
Yeah, the big kid in the room.
The big kid in the room.
Oh, Kevin,
does it have an odor?
No, it's inert.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, cool.
But it can be made to have an odor. Kevin, you ain't kidding, because when I packed this up, I packed it up like a puck. And I literally told Alex, man, I hope they don't pull me over.
That's exactly what I said.
It's C4.
But it made it through.
Yeah, it went through. It is an adult fidget toy. It literally is. All right.
That's pretty cool.
Speaking of adult fidget toys, that's a perfect cue for our guest this week. It's time for our Meet Your Maker segment. Let's see who we got on.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
There he is.
The man with the plan.
The Rewey.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Awesome.
I'm celebrating today because apparently after listening to this, we can just do whatever the F we want on holidays.
Yeah,
so today's St. Patrick's Day, so get some green beer, and that's it. Yeah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Fred.
Thank you. Thank you.
The funny thing about Paul is he just thinks it's so normal.
Yeah.
The odd things he does. He's like, what's wrong? It's normal. It's just
I mean, like I had a Cadbury egg thing ready to go, and then I'm like, oh man, prom night flashbacks, and now I got to take it down because he's already got it. And why did he choose those? There's 25 different versions of Cadbury eggs. He chooses the plain one. He doesn't even go with the Canadian one, which, by the way, isn't called Cadbury egg. It's oeuf fondant. But he would probably already know that just in case somebody brought up a Cadbury conversation. He would be ready to roll. Ready to roll.
Is it really called oeuf fondant?
Yeah, it means egg-based. Canada's the only one that has their own name for it. Paul, you probably knew that. You probably loaded with the Cadbury.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
How many are made every year?
Paul knows.
No clue.
500 million.
For real?
Wow.
For real. 500 million, 2/3 of them go to UK, I guess. So,
well,
which, by the way,
Cadbury is a
also
UK
explains
based
the dental
company.
plan problem there, I guess.
Two-thirds of all the Cadbury eggs produced go to Europe?
UK, actually, yeah.
Just England?
Just UK. Well, UK is more than just England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cadbury is a
That's
UK
real
based
that
company.
little
That's
island.
why.
That little island consumes 2/3 of the world's Cadbury eggs.
Well, I think what they do is, and I'm not an expert, but I'm assuming that to go through that many eggs, they must do the Paul move and just like do Easter whenever the fuck they want. So that just spreads it out throughout the year. So I imagine it's not just all Easter weekend.
And we thought it was the tea that was ruining their teeth.
Right.
No.
Holy cow! Just so you know, still got my book, buddy.
Nice.
Still got it. If you haven't read, is this even still available? If anybody hasn't gotten one or yet?
It is. I
Yeah.
looked on
It's
Amazon.
still
It's still
the
there.
audio book is still there, and the regular book is still on Amazon.
Actually, very entertaining reading, everybody. I would sell you mine, but you can see it. Mine's not for resale, so I can't.
Yeah, that's right. You got the proof one. I think we were doing the show or something right before it came out, and I sent you the proof. And then you actually you had it on the show and you showed a picture. And then I got an email from like the Amazon police or something saying, "Did you sell that copy?"
For
and
real?
I'm like, no, I didn't sell the copy. I said he's proofing it for me. I'm like, what? Seriously?
You know what, Abe? Just quick. Tanner Cole has a great point. I'm not going to be in on Wednesday. It's Labor Day this Wednesday, so just so you know.
Oh, yeah. Federal holiday. Yeah.
I mean, if that's the route we're going, might as well.
It's
Do our own stuff.
It's Paul's
no
world.
defense.
It's Paul's
We're just
world.
living in it.
We're just hanging out in it. It's what it is.
We're just living in it, waiting for our share of the share crop.
Oh, which I missed this past week.
No, you missed the
forgot to
share
go
crop.
I
What do you
forgot
mean
to
you
go
missed?
pick it up, and
You
guess
didn't
what?
get your turnips?
No, and they won't let us. Like they won't. If you don't pick it up in the day that's allotted for you, you can't get it. You just forfeit it. That sucks. So we didn't get any fresh vegetables. It's too bad.
Woe is me.
Wow.
You really live in it like a
I think
socialist.
we should have.
communist. I mean,
think we
you
should
live
have
in like a
Island.
communist complex.
It's not a communist
What do you mean?
complex.
What
It
do
just
you-
they happen to have a farm here.
Right. And if you don't pick it up on time, you forfeit your share crop to the government. The
Yeah,
HOA.
yeah.
In my defense, I told the babysitter to go get it, but she forgot. So now
So
we're
that-
without
That
tomatoes
little
and turnips.
portion get equally distributed amongst all the other 300 residents, or what happens with that portion?
Yeah, I guess it goes to other people. I don't know. They were trying to explain to us at the farm, and I was like, all right, this just
Goes
sounds
to
like
the
you don't want to do
HOA.
any
The
more
HOA
work.
splits it.
So if you get there
Yeah,
like,
they-
Probably.
so if you
Yeah,
get there
if
5
you move
minutes
to
late,
the if you move to the south part of the city, it's much more open. You're allowed to like buy things on normal days and stuff. It's not as controlled as much as the north. So maybe move to the south part of the complex.
Is there a wall?
I'll think
in
of that.
between the southern
Hey,
and
Chris
northern?
Daniels, by the way, for your delayed flight, I'll send you a T-shirt. So DM me your address and stuff. I saw that his flight got delayed, so he's excited. So you got to go out and watch part of the show. I saw that in the chat, so I got a T-shirt for you. Hopefully, you wear that size. If you
Oh,
don't,
nice.
then I don't know what to tell you.
I hope it's big. I know he's got a big head.
Oh.
Well, he's always complaining that no hats ever fit him. So
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
valid
gotcha.
point, Paul. What would you have done with your vegetables, being that you're leaving tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good question. I probably would have equally distributed them out to the rest of the residents anyway.
you would have let him
So then
rot.
why are you upset by it? You weren't
just
going to do
wanted
anything with
his-
him anyway.
He wanted his share of
Because
the
it's
crop.
owed to me. It's owed to
Holy
me.
crap.
I pay a lot of money for our HOA now. I need every penny's worth.
Go move. I would do that if I could live on a cattle ranch that did that, and like that was what they distributed every week.
That
Like, they
makes
distribute
sense.
steaks and stuff. I
That
would be
makes
all over that.
Yes. See,
Not a bad idea.
hashtag real man.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, enjoy your turnips. I'm sure they're amazing in some sort of whatever.
Oh, the
I have
radishes
no
were
idea.
so fresh today. Oh my god.
It's not just radishes; it's zucchini and peppers and hot peppers. They grow Carolina Reapers and
How will you make
jalapenos. And
how will you make your zucchini spaghetti now?
we do. I can't argue.
See,
with
look,
that.
I hit it right on the head.
But they don't. She calls them zoodles.
Zucchini spaghetti. Who? Zucchini spaghetti. Really?
What's
She
wrong
calls
with
them
spaghetti?
zoodles.
As an Italian, all your ancestors and your heritage is rolling in the grave at the thought of zucchini spaghetti.
I'm trying to lose weight, man. I can't have pasta right now. Pasta's cut out.
You
There's
know,
no
when you-
So you're
pasta
gonna
in
have
the
pretend
house.
pasta?
She makes zoodles.
Fred, it's very similar to pretend Easter.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Then. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
It's very, very similar.
I would rather look. I dropped a bunch of weight. I would rather eat less of something good than some sort of pretend noodles or something like that. That's just me.
Me too.
I'll keep that in mind.
My only listen, I live that motto, Fred. My only problem is I just don't do any less of it. That's my problem.
Oh, I have no portion control whatsoever. Like, I mean, so like when I'm trying to lose weight, if you throw a whole pizza in front of me, I can either not eat it or I'm going to eat 3/4 of it. There's no middle ground. There's no like, oh, I'm just gonna have a slice because that's what the calorie counter said to have. It's just there's no middle ground for me whatsoever. So it's very black and white. But when I try to lose weight, I just go, here's the calories I can eat, but I don't take anything off the list. So it's like if I want a Snickers bar, I'm gonna have a Snickers bar. I'm just gonna make sure that I just don't eat something else later that day.
I just grew up with this bad philosophy that kind of everything was single serving. You know, a box of cereal was single serving, a pizza was a single serving. You know, it was bad.
Well, I don't know if that's bad. I mean, anything single serving if you've got the guts to go through the whole container. I mean, apparently to Ben and Jerry's, I'm a family of 4. You know, I mean, so okay.
Seriously. The hard part
Is it because you were afraid of wasting food, Abe?
No.
Like I don't know. Like
Have you
I'm
seen
the same
my
way with
side?
pizza. I
I
can't
just
have one
Able
slice.
to
I gotta.
consume that much stuff.
All right.
No.
I mean, we're in America. I don't think we have a fear of wasting food. I mean, we're not. None of us were alive in the 30s. You know, so I mean, I don't know that that's a reference we have.
So when I was
Oh, but maybe he got it from his parents.
No, when I was 14, my parents were poor farmers, man. They had to ration shit. When I was 14, I was 6 feet, 225 pounds. So I'm going to venture to say I'm as big as Fred Rewey is as a grown man adult. That was my size. I was just a monster kid growing up. Big baby Huey. I literally stopped growing at 14. That was it. It was over. It was done.
Oh my God, we just got of your thing earlier of, you know, what 2 people are you like? Baby Huey is one half of you, Abe. Now we got to think of what the other thing is, but that's half of it right there.
That really is half of it. I was a baby Huey growing up.
I don't know what the other half is yet. But
You're just too young. You're too young. I was 3 years old. My first cousin was 5 years older than me, but I was bigger than him and all his friends.
That's awesome.
So I was literally hanging around with them. It was my first cousin. We lived across the hall from each other. I hung out with him and his friends, but I had the mind of a 3-year-old hanging around with 8-year-old kids.
You know, there. It's funny. There's a picture in our Dropbox. I guess you were putting pictures together with you and your father, and you know these old pictures. But there's this one picture, and I caught it, and I had to stop and look at it.
I'm sitting on his lap.
You're like, I don't know how old you are, but you're like this giant man child. You might be 3, 2. I don't know.
I'm younger than 3. I'm younger than 3.
Giant man child sitting on his lap.
Really?
Like
I want to see this picture. I got to see.
I mean,
this
let me get it.
We got to find this.
Yeah, load it up.
It's I used it in the documentary that we did for our 25th anniversary cigar, so I had to dig up some old photos. But no, I could tell by the apartment we're in, I wasn't even 3 yet, or somewhere between 2 and 3 in this photo. But you're right; it's so awkward because I look like a man child, literally on their lap.
That's why you don't. We think that Eli is so big for his age, like hefty wise. But you're always like, no, he's normal, he's fine. But now I see why. You were giant.
Yeah, I was not the norm. I wasn't the norm on the spectrum growing up.
Oh, I cannot
So
wait to see this now.
while Alex is digging that up, Fred, you were out. You were out, Fred.
No, I got so close. It was like Logan's Run. I thought I made it. I was like, I got to the border. I thought I saw the free world out there. No, yeah. Look,
I don't think you were ever really fully out. I mean, Nomad was.
Yeah, you were.
No, I mean, look, I sold Nomad, and everybody knows.
I mean, you didn't pull what I like to call an Ozinger, right? Gone in the wind, right? Literally. I mean, like one of the fiercest guys in my career that not only got out but is gone.
Yeah. He kind of Andy Dufresne that thing. I mean, just
seriously gone.
No, I mean, look, everybody knows. I sold Nomad not because I didn't like cigars, because it wasn't fun for me anymore. From the standpoint is that every week I'm talking to attorneys. All of a sudden, California wants warning labels. No, they don't. Okay, wait a minute. They're going to want warning labels, and then the attorneys on the FDA stuff. So I wasn't looking to sell it, but I got a call, and I'm like, you know what? It's just not fun for me. I can't hand a cigar to somebody in the lounge because apparently that's not allowed. So, so I stepped back. I got out of Nomad because it wasn't, I loved the blending. I loved the marketing. I loved the conversations. I went into Nomad as a cigar enthusiast. I was the kid in the Make-A-Wish Foundation that built a brand, and everybody could come along on that journey. And so then I sold it, and then I didn't know what to do. I'm sitting around and I'm going through this stuff, and I'm just like, well, you know what? I enjoy smoking cigars. I can go to the events. There's no pressure. I'm not having to sell cigars or anything like that. And I enjoyed that for a while. And then I'm still going on these shows, and I get invited to shows. And, the least thing now, if I get invited on a show, there's a friggin' reason for me to be on the show other than the guy formerly that used to own this. So it's nice to have something. So the short answer is basically, I still wanted to do something industry. And there's another project that I just put out that I'm going to mention in a little bit here. But I basically had a very short list of companies that I would go work with. One is that I'm old enough now that it had to be on my terms. I didn't need it for the money or anything. So it was just a question of, if I'm going to do X, Y, Z for a company, it has to be a job that I actually want, now that I see the part of it that I didn't want. And then the other part is honestly, there was a short list of companies that I had an interest in, both the company and the product. And Dion was probably top of that list. And I mean, there was a lot of speculation for a couple of years that we're going to do something, and we just kind of kept talking and see what it would look like. And he called me about 2 months ago after this long courting process of, are we going to go to the prom together or not? And he just says, hey, I think we need to do it. And I said, all right, well, if we're going to do it, then what about XYZ and all this other stuff? And we hammered it out in about a 45-minute phone call, and boom, there you are. And I'm excited. I've said, even back when I had Nomad, even before I had Nomad, I've loved Dion's portfolio. He's kind of that portfolio that is everybody's, I don't want to say second favorite, because I don't want to minimize it, but if someone has a primary cigar and you mention Louisiana, everybody's like, oh my God, I love those cigars too. If I go out on the road and I'm with it, and you see brokers come into the shop to sell you cigars, or reps come in that are repping a brand, I guarantee you in their travel humidor, they've got some Louisianas in there. And if they don't, they're going to get them when they pick them up. I mean, they're that good at cigars. They're a geek's cigar, if you will.
It's interesting, Fred. The writing was on the wall, and I didn't catch it. So Fred and I do the Connoisseur Club reveal show once a month together. And on the night of the reveal show, we try to get one of the manufacturers to come in during the show. And one of the months, the Louisiana was in the Connoisseur Club, and Fred just on him. Oh yeah, we're going to get Dion to come on. And in my mind, I'm like,
I texted him like, hey, I should get Dion.
Yeah, Fred's got some juice. Dion doesn't really come on anything. He's going to just pop into our little reveal show. The writing was on the wall. I didn't put it together then.
Yeah, and all the years I've been on KMA, Dion's been on once, I think.
Yeah.
Times, maybe once or twice.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it was cool because he jumped on the show, and look, when the guy talks, people listen. He's not a bullshitter. I mean, the guy knows tobacco, and I've said that he's got the best palate for a white guy. And when I say that, I mean non-Cuban, non-Nicaraguan, whatever. I mean, he definitely studied kind of the way Hanky was. He's real big into the flavors of it. His greatest asset is he's really got that palate. How much he can do. And so when he jumped on the reveal show, I mean, he probably talked for about 20, 25 minutes, and you can't turn away. It's like you're just watching this in real time as he's unveiling different things. It used to be for me, it's like, it was easy when you don't know anything. Like, oh, I want jalapa. or I want, Condega or whatever. But then, you go down the road later, like, well, what farm do I want it from? And Dion's like, well, not only what farm, what part of the farm that I want it from? What, where,
Right.
how did it, what part of the drying barn was in, whatever. That's just crazy. I mean, that is just absolutely crazy to have that level of subtlety. When you look at his portfolio, which has a huge chunk of Criollo 98, 99, and he comes up with all these different cigars, and there's very few boutiques that have made, top 25 list, over and over and over again. When you look at like, the Epernay that you're smoking, I mean, it's had different sizes, and, CA's top 25. It's been, one side was number 19, another year was number 7, another year it was number 3. And it's not even the only number 3 cigar he's had in there. Fume de Amor was number 3, in Cigar Aficionado. So, and that's just one magazine. I mean, it's been across the board, but you have to have a palate. You have to have, an ability to do that. Which amazes me.
So what exactly are you doing for the company? Tell us Fred Rewey's role in losing.
Yeah. So, basically, I didn't want a title. We kind of went back and forth. He sent a list of all these titles and stuff, but basically it was
really
brand. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I didn't want a title. I didn't, because I wanted the ability. So we ended up with brand strategist. So my role basically is to increase the exposure of Illusione among cigar smokers. And I want to do it really in a couple of ways. One is that I look at my role as dual role. One is obviously the umbrella for the company. What does the branding look like? And how do we convey that message? And Dion's been working on a lot of branding things that'll be coming out that are way before me, that are already in motion. So I'm focused on the conversation. But the second thing for me is also from the retailer's perspective, is that what can I do to help them tell the conversation? I think Illusione, and this is one of the things that Dion and I talked about before I came on board, he is very, has been not anti-marketing, but he's anti, everything's, we're not industry standard. So he didn't necessarily wanted to do anything that seemed like it had been done before or was, overused, like, either events or swag or whatever it may be. So my thing is look, you can do some of those things. You just got to put your own twist on it. I don't want to take away anything that has brought Illusione to where it is. Obviously, nothing to do with the cigars as far as them being made, but also, I love the whole conspiracy thing. I love how the names have all these background, things in there, as far as, just some of the names. There's a lot behind the names, and some of them are public. The MJ12 is a super big name out there. Well, it's named after the Majestic 12, which was 1947. Truman kind of had this, group of people that were supposed to investigate aliens. And then you have the MK Ultra, which is the whole mind control part, that was supposedly the CIA's, thing on doing mind control. So there's a lot of cool stuff there that I just really want to double down on and leverage. But I think it's just a matter of just increasing the roads that lead to Illusione. If you're a cigar smoker and you haven't gone through that portfolio, I think you're really missing out. And don't even take my word for it. I mean, just ask anybody that is a cigar geek.
Is it true that I heard that all the results from all the data and experiments from MK Ultra got acquired by Disney?
I don't know. That's a great question.
It's a joke.
Really?
It's a joke, but
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, Paul.
It wouldn't surprise me. Let's put it that way. What was very interesting about that is you all paused because of the plausibility of it. I was just completely fucking around. But
I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I was busting on Paul, but all four of you went like, "Wow, that makes sense."
I'm like getting ready to Google it.
But
I know, right? I'm like, well, maybe. I mean,
we do have a question from our friend Kevin Shahan. A little off topic, but
I'm
kind of curious as well.
Oh, off topic?
Do you still own this sweet suit?
I do. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Oh my God! What is this?
That was back when I was in the corporate financial world. That was the first book I ever wrote.
Oh, you look so polished, Fred.
Yeah,
I look so young, is
like
what I
Val
look. I think,
Kilmer.
but I appreciate the word polished. That's good.
Yeah, it was nicer than young, but polished. Yeah, you look polished.
Yeah, polished
Fred
sounds
Kilmer.
way better.
Wow, when's the last time you saw that, Fred?
Well, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Leave it up to Kevin Shahan to dig in the
Yeah,
crates.
you know what? It's one of those.
Man, I
ones
never
that
want to
pops
piss
up.
Kevin Shahan off.
No,
That dude's gonna dig some shit up.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of
I
which,
thought
while
you
we're
did
here,
when you brought up the yarn thing.
you want to
go
see the
ahead.
man child?
Yes.
Oh my god!
The man child.
Oh my-
Whoa!
I gotta say, your dad looks the same, just with dark hair and more hair, but he really hasn't changed that much.
My dad aged very, very well. But yeah, I
Wow,
can't.
man.
That's
Can you age yourself semi there, Abe? Any idea?
I'm going to tell you because that's before Hickory Hills, and I had my 3rd birthday in Hickory Hills, so I wasn't 3 yet in that photo.
Oh my god.
Imagine him coming up to you, wants you to pick him up. What the fuck?
Yeah, daddy.
So speaking of that funny story, right? So I'm born, and my parents want to wait. I'm going to find this picture because I know I'm definitely 3 in this picture. I'm way bigger than that because I had hair down to here. My parents wanted to wait to go back to Jordan so I could get baptized in the Jordan River. Okay. So I literally, it was like, oh, I'm 3 years old and I still haven't been baptized. And I guess like the family was like shaming them. Like, are you nuts? You just can't wait forever. So they finally got me baptized. And I remember being baptized because I got like perfume or something in my eyes. My eyes were watering. I'm crying. But you know, you're not supposed to, the child's first haircut is supposed to come at the baptism. So I literally had curls down to my shoulder. I had a lot of hair. And the priest couldn't lift me up. You know, dunk me. No, seriously, they had to pour water over my head because the priest couldn't even lift me up to dunk me.
Well, they couldn't dunk you because then no kids would be able to go after you. The water displacement alone would have been like, sorry, we're out of water. Come back tomorrow. You know.
Seriously. So, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, my God. That photo is freaking amazing.
Yep. Big kid.
I need to see it again. Hold on.
Look at that.
My hair is in a ponytail.
That's not even like no one did trick
Is it
photography like when people take photos of fish and like hold it closer to the camera. That is just wow.
Yeah, he's on the same plane as them. You're almost as big as your mother in that picture.
I was my mother's size probably by 6, 7.
Man, they should have called Guinness. There could have been a record there. There could have
Yeah,
been.
you're missing out. You could have had a whole other career.
I mean, no, look, I'm not trying to be insulting. I loved you and Willy Wonka at that time. I thought that was just, I thought you were awesome.
You talking to me or Abe?
I was talking.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'll sing myself once in a while.
It can go both ways.
That's true.
So you're talking about doing things differently. So what is the day in the life of Fred Rewey now for Luzion? What is it you're working on doing?
Well, so it's been like we're only like a month and a half into it really. So it's just been a lot of I've talked to a lot of retailers as far as what do they see, what on the brand, and I think one of the most I guess humbling thing out of the gate is just when the announcement came out, how many people were supportive on both sides, both for me and on Dion's side. It was a great fit, but most of my time has been talking to retailers right now, going, okay, what do you need? What they're all excited, going, oh, we're happy for this. People have talked about what it looks like on the shelf. People have talked about events. People have talked about some of the standard stuff like that. The other part has really been starting to step up engagement and conversation on social media. It's something I did very well with Nomad as far as building up that base of people to talk to. And then I also want to kind of remove a little bit of the mystery, behind some of the blends. Look, Dion's not going to go out on the road and travel and stuff like that. And I'm really not looking to do that a whole lot of it either. But I think that there can be a lot more storytelling and what's behind the blends as far as how they're created, what the passion is. Like I said, I'd like to have Dion out front a little bit more on explaining what's behind the blend, because anytime he does talk, everybody's glued, whether you're a novice or you're somebody that's very experienced, you're really, really listening because he does have that in-depth knowledge. So I want to bring a little bit more of that to light. But really, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm really just trying to have more pathways to Luzion. And most of it right now has to do with social media, through a contest up there, just to start to, get people into the tribe, if you will, a little bit. Did that over to Lucione.com, LucianeCigars.com, and did a contest on there just to kind of give away some swag and kind of raise awareness a little bit. But we have a lot. Also, we just hired a salesperson. Gian hired Ryan Schupler to come on board, who's literally just like 2 or 3 weeks behind me, and on sales. So there's a very aggressive plan for the next 18 months for Luciane as far as exposure and blends and sales and access to it, which I think is going to be pretty interesting.
So do you plan? Are you hitting the road a lot? Are you going to be turned into a road warrior for the company?
No. And actually that was one of the things I didn't want. I will definitely be at key events. I will definitely be doing a lot of the bigger events as far as that's concerned. But there are brokers out there that Luciane has. There is, Ryan is the sales guy, so I suspect he'll end up picking up the larger amounts of those. But I think the larger scale events, and then obviously some sporadic tours with different reps and stuff, I'll definitely be out. Because look, one of the things I looked at on a company was on the marketing is that they said, hey, why don't you come up to the marketing team? And I'm talking to their marketing team, and I'm like, well, how often do you guys go on the road? Like, well, we don't go on the road ever. And I'm like, okay, well, you smoke cigars. We don't smoke cigars. I'm like, okay, so when you go to a cigar shop, well, we don't go to cigar shops. And I'm like, well, how the hell do you market a product or learn to engage with people if you know nothing about this? So I still want to go out there. I love doing it. I want to go out and travel. I rode with one of the reps last week through a state, and I still want to do that. I want to be in touch and on the ground floor with the retailer and find out what they need and how we can help them. At the end of the day, we all still want to do the same thing. Retailers want to sell more cigars, and we want to sell more of our cigars. So yeah, it just makes sense to do it. Plus, I like it.
So you will be doing some traveling, just not like
absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'm not going to be the 45 weeks a year type thing, but I definitely plan on traveling once or twice a month for sure. Plus, whatever major events are out there.
Cool. Well, interesting. Well, listen, we got a lot more with Fred Rewey coming up in hour 2 of KMA Talk Radio. Don't go anywhere. Our man Coop will be on this week to give us a scoop with Coop, see what's going on in the cigar verse. Also, we're going to have Name That Jam with Fred Rewey. We're going to test his musical acumen, see if he can name that jam. New segment. And we have a very special edition of Would You Rather, sponsored by the fine folks at Gurkha's Would You Rather Extreme, hosted by our GOAT, Alex Tavella. So we'll be right back very shortly. Until then, keep it lit.
Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you do not inhale.
Celebrating 85 years of success, the Monte Cristo 1935 Anniversary Nicaragua is a tribute to the outstanding accomplishments the brand has achieved since their inception, receiving multiple awards such as the #2 Cigar of the Year in 2021 for Cigar Aficionado, 2021's Best Cigar for Cigar Snob magazine, and 3 more prestigious awards. The Monte Cristo 1935 Anniversary Nicaragua comes from the creative minds of Rafael Nadal, AJ Fernandez, and the Grupo de Maestros. This full-body Nicaraguan Puro pays homage to the original tobaccos that were used in the very first Monte Cristo cigar that was ever produced. Flavor notes you'll detect while smoking this gem are pepper, cedar, and chocolate, which pairs perfectly with a cappuccino. No matter what 4 sizes you pick, this classic smoke will send you on a trip down memory lane and all the way back to 1935.
Hey babe,
Yeah?
I'm almost out of wine and I want to order some online. Where should I order from this time?
KMAWines.com, of course.
KMAWines.com? What's that?
What's that? What's that? Hold on a second. Let me show you.
You see, KMA has teamed up with Bonner Fine Wines to offer KMA listeners a fantastic deal on a Malbec 3-wine sampler. You see, here is their famous Malbec, grown at an altitude of 8,950 feet. 3 wines from the edge of the world. An old French Malbec variety no longer found in Europe. These 3 wines, 200 years in the making, yours, KMA listeners, for 53% off. Normally $130, but like I said, KMA listeners get 53% off That makes it $69.99. So what do you think?
I think we should order.
I agree. And done.
Honest Abe here, back with hour 2 of KMA Talk Radio, along with our gang, the Italian Scallion, and the GOAT. Special guest this week, our man, the Godfather, Fred Rewey. Fred, speaking of the book before we went to the break, that wasn't the only book you've written. You have a couple of books, yes?
That was a book. The picture I shared.
No. This one?
No. This is a book.
Oh, that's one of his books. I thought that was a magazine. I thought that was
there's 3. There's that one. There's one on marketing called Be the Lime, and then there's the bacon book, which was basically just for fun for me.
I'd have to say that would probably be the one I'd find most interesting. The bacon book. All right, Fred, we have a special segment brought to you by our fine friends at Avo Cigars. Name That Jam. We're going to play a short snippet of song. We're going to see if Fred Rewey can name that jam.
Oh, no.
Alex, I need you to remember to get that sound bite because Fred Rewey's voice.
You don't know?
Oh, it's like so perfectly timed. See if you can name that jam.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Let's see.
That's so bad at this.
That is a KMA soundbite right there. Please grab that. So, Fred, very simple. We're going to give you a 3-second little play. See if you can name that jam. Alex, hit the reel. Let's see if Fred can name that jam. Oh,
that was 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Actually,
we can give you it.
I've made him longer.
Yeah, we can give it to you again.
Oh,
want it again? Give it to him again, Paul.
George, there, go
one
to
more
the
time, Fred.
Destroyers.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
You want me to
We
play
need the song.
The
We
reveal?
need the jam. We need the jam. Give it to him again.
Do you know
I
the
got to
song?
give you the name?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's like one shot, one bourbon, one something.
One wrong order, but you were there. Let's see if
One bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
Very well.
Hey.
Nicely done. Fred Rewey, you have successfully named that jam, my friend. Brought to you this week by the fine folks at Avo Cigars.
You got to remember your tagline.
I'm so
Oh,
bad
what
at
was
this.
Something about bringing music to the cigar industry or something.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a
I
good
just
line
said
from
that off
last
the
week.
top of my head last week.
You know what? I have to. I got to go back and we got to keep a count of
Who
won?
Yeah.
Name the jam?
Because I mean, we're probably even right now for a guy who had such dread going in. He wound up nailing it.
Literally, he was like you. He was like you. No, not enough. We tried. Not enough.
There's no way it worked because we've tried it. But Alex did give him more than 3 seconds.
It was it was more than 3 seconds, and not fast enough.
Yeah, Fred's oh God was like Alex when he saw the semi in Texas. Oh God.
Same dread. It was the same dread.
Same dread. So Fred,
yeah,
can you tell us some cool things that are in the Fred Rewey mind works for 2022 with the Illusione? Or is it still all cloak and dagger?
No, well, a lot of it is. I mean, not gonna lie, we're still fleshing a lot of stuff out. But like I said, the conspiracy thing is going to be important going forward on something. Just a little side project there. I'll tell you one thing I did that I haven't told anybody that I'm probably comfortable telling breaking on this show anyway. Not that I think anybody's going to care, but I cared. Before the Illusione thing, and I can say it now because everything's post-production. I decided to go on the road when I didn't know what the heck I was supposed to do. And it came out of PCA last year when I was kind of walking down the hall talking to a bunch of people. And I decided to go fly out and do interviews with some of the larger names in the cigar industry and sit down with them like together, like as opposed to Zoom and stuff. And the idea is that one, I had access to the people, and the other thing is that I don't remember a lot of instances that happening. When someone gets on a Zoom call, they have an agenda. It's like, here's our latest cigar, here's what we're selling, here's what it is. And look, one of the things I love about the industry and I felt very blessed with was the fact that I knew a lot of these makers or blenders and, been to dinner with them and stuff. And it's stuff that people wish they had access to. And I thought, well, I wanted to show those people as real people. So I wanted the interviews to be, not super polished. I wanted them just sit down, general talk, 70%, more about them and 30% cigars. It probably ended up more 50-50 because it's just impossible to not talk about cigars. So I went and shot like 8 episodes. I had a 3-camera film crew and all this other stuff, and everything's in post-production, and I'm just going to put them online. There's no sponsors. I wasn't trying to monetize it. I foot the bill for the whole thing myself. But I sat down with, Hanky and Klaus. And I let everybody pick their location where they would, either be comfortable or something that showcased them. So I sat down with Hanky and Klaus Hanky wanted it out in the field. So we did it at one of their fields, and we did a big sit down interview for an hour there. Lito and Tony Gomez, we sat on the factory floor. Nurka Reyes, we actually had in a room that's got all these cigar boxes. Abe Flores, he has a music studio inside of his own factory. We did it there. Manolo Casada with Raquel, we did in their lounge that they have at their factory. Saga, the restaurant, I did. We went and I talked to Fufi and Isis there, and we did a little tour of Saga. Everybody that's been there that knows Saga from a restaurant is really awesome. And Carlito Fuente. And went to Banao to the Hemingway house and sat down with Carlito for about an hour there. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun sitting. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of great moments in all these. It's all in post-production. Like I said, I'm going to have it out here pretty soon for everybody to kind of see. And I just wanted something that was like an end-all, not an end-all interview, but I mean, and there's a lot of great interviews with these people, but I really just wanted something that really just kind of brought it closer to home for some people, I guess.
You muted him.
Who you did interviews with?
So there was Hanky and Klaus Kellner, Lito Gomez with Tony, Nurka Reyes, Abe Flores, Manolo Casado, and Carlito Fuente.
I know, but how did you choose? What were you looking for when you chose people to do these interviews with?
So initially, it was really just. So I started with people that I knew that would be there that around that time, just for sake of hiring a film crew for 2 weeks, as far as making that a little bit more available. So that was kind of
a film crew.
I actually hired a film crew. I hired a film crew there. I hired a film crew in Dominican Republic.
Okay, so you did it all in the Dominican Republic.
I did in this one, and there's several others that actually had already said they would do the show, and it ended up being, but it was just super close, intimate. Alex, I just sent you a photo from one of them, one of the shoots there. It was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun to sit. And it's not polished. It's not so there's no agenda. There's no tell me about your best cigar and why we should go buy it right now. There was none of that. There's some great moments in all of them, really.
Very cool. And
what's it called?
So I'm calling it the Final Puff. It was kind of like the last call. The idea was just to kind of have that just end all interview, sit down, get to know them personally type thing.
And when do you think the final product will be out there, and how are you going to get it out there? You're just going to post it on social media episode by episode?
No, yeah. So it should have been out a couple of weeks ago. To be honest, the thing that I'm having challenging with is the sound. Initially, I was going to edit all of it myself, and then I just realized I am way over my head as far as 3 cameras and all the other stuff. So the challenge really is the sound. There's 3 different mics. There's everything going on. So the ones that are just straight up 2 people aren't really much of a problem. But, Lito and Tony are on a factory floor. So some of the other ones sound-wise. So that's what we're working through right now. As far as distribution, I created a website for it. So it'll go up on the website. I'll put it out on social media. And I did talk to a couple people that are in the media, like Coop actually knows about it. And I said I was going to allow them to embed it wherever they wanted. So I'll put it on my site and then give them embed codes. They can put it on their site. I just want to share it. I'm not looking to monetize it. I just wanted to share it. So a lot of the media guys are like, heck yeah, every time, we'll release one every 2 weeks. And, they'll embed it on their site to just share the story behind a manufacturer that, people want to know more about.
Oh, wow. That's a great photo.
That was the most nervous one I was out of the gate.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It actually, I went back and I looked online to see stuff of Carlito Fuente, and I saw some interviews, which he doesn't have a lot of interviews. And then I actually came across I went back and I looked at the Great Smoke last year when he was there and he's sitting on the couch and he's talking to Michael Herklotz, and I'm watching it and he's talking and he's answering the questions with you and Michael. And a lot of times Carlito's like looking elsewhere because he's always aware of everything around him. And he's the consummate host to that. So he's looking, he's waving to people. So I went into that interview thinking when I was going to sit down with him, that he might be slightly distracted. I mean, obviously there's the film crew, there's his people are there, there's a bunch of people off camera. And I got to tell you, that was an amazing hour. That photo, he's sitting literally next to me. We've got cigars. He is 100% engaged, 100% just talking to me for an hour on some great, great stuff as we went through cigars and family and tradition. And it was he was just so in the moment, which was not something I necessarily expected. And I was relieved.
Cool. How long is roughly each episode?
Each one's about an hour. I was looking at editing them and going, hey, I want to do 45 minutes. But then I'm kind of looking, well, do I really want to leave anything on the sidelines? Look, this isn't going on TV. This doesn't have to fill commercials or sponsors or anything like that. So maybe we just, with few exceptions of a couple edits that are probably necessary from a technical standpoint, just put the whole thing out there. Some parts of it may be a little slower than others, but some people are going to find different parts of it more interesting than others too.
True. Wow, sounds like a cool
project.
This is
exciting. I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
And you did this all over the span of what, 2 weeks?
We filmed it within about 2.5 weeks, and then lately it's been in post-production. But like I said, sound's the one thing that I'm just wrestling with right now. That I'm like, I've gone through 3 sound guys, and I'm like, no, this isn't right. It may end up being put out with not as great a sound quality as I wanted. It's not that you can't hear them. It's just that it's not perfectly balanced the way it should be. One guy's mic sounds slightly better than somebody else's mic. It's annoying to me, but if you're trying to get the context of the interview and everything, you'll still obviously get it. But I had hoped for a little bit higher production. Like I said, the photo kind of is just a screenshot of a screenshot sent to Alex. And, but we're talking 3 cameras. If you look at the one with like just Carlito and I, that's just one camera. That's the camera that's just on us. And that's a screenshot of a screenshot. Then there's a camera just on him, just on me. So the camera footage is amazing. It's just the audio that I'm trying to get a little bit more dialed in.
We just suffered through that ourselves because we did a little documentary on our 25th anniversary cigar, multiple camera angles, multiple sound. Wasn't really done by professionals. And then we cleaned it up as much as we can. But like you said, it's not like the way you'd like it. It's hearable. It's doable. But, when you work with the guys like that we did for the Great Smoke, and you really realize how much they put into getting sound right.
Right.
It's not a simple thing, man. I mean, these guys that we use for the Great Smoke Show Tech are top of the game people, and there's a lot that goes into making sure that the sound is right. A lot, and because we fight, because we're looking at the bill, like, do we really need this? Do we really need this? You know what I mean? Because it's like, holy cow, all this stuff, but a lot of stuff is required to get good sound, oddly enough. And like you said, especially if you're using multiple camera angles and multiple mics, because then it's all got a line right too.
Well, that's on location. Especially on location.
That was really the problem.
Hardest things to get right.
And I know from doing, being, acting in movies and stuff like that, I know the sound thing. I know, and I guess I never really thought to ask the questions, and it has to do with how the tracks were separated. And so, look, it's just, at the end of the day, the content will trump the quality as far as the audio is going to be. We'll get it good enough where you get the context, because there's some great moments with all of them. Lito and Tony Gomez sitting down, the banter between the two of them, that was probably the easiest one, because they both have stories. They're both sharing information. They're both teasing each other a little bit. There's a moment where Tony, Lito unveils a bunch of stuff about legacy and stuff like that. And Tony's just like, oh my God, you've never told me that. So you got some of those moments that are there. With Carlito, I asked him a question that really cut him pretty deep, that he's just kind of like, wow, we're okay. It was just some great moments with these people, but it was in a safe environment. And so the idea came, like I said, when I was walking down the hallway at PCA, and I was with somebody, and it's, at PCA, it's that long hallway to get all the way down to the convention center. And we passed like 5 or 6 big names in the industry, and they're all like walking by me going, Fred, how you doing? Blah, 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 and stuff like that. And it got embarrassing after a while. And I realized, I'm like, I need to do something with this access that I know these people and I want. And so, it was a safe environment. They all had the right to cut something out of the interview if they wanted, things like that. But I wanted to do something with that. And so that's what I ended up doing, right, wrong, or indifferent,
It's I can't actually wait to see this. It's a very cool concept. Do you think any intentions of doing a second series?
I would. I think that there's obviously people that want me to do it. I think I would just financially have to figure out someone's going to have to pay for it. I spent a lot of money to do this myself because it was a give back to me. It was really a give back. Everybody's like, when I was down in DR, I'm like, well, you're not charging anybody for it. And I'm like, look, I didn't want sponsors. I didn't want anybody to have an agenda or not like who a sponsor was or something like that. And look, the cigar industry has been amazing to me. I've met some of my best friends and all that stuff. So I wanted to give something back. And since I started in DR, it was a logical place for me to start with the people that I met. And, I wanted people to see people all around the world. Because it's the internet. I wanted them to see these people as I got to see some of them and get some of the inside stories that they don't get to share when there's an agenda on a Zoom call or an event or even in a regular interview. I'm not media,
right?
So they don't have to have a certain slant on it.
And they're in a safe environment there too, because like you're saying,
key.
You're not media.
Yeah. And that's why it was delayed a year, because everybody's like, oh, move it to Zoom. I think the first person to know about it was Matt Booth. 2 years ago, I was in Spokane and him and I were hanging out in the lake, and I told him the idea. He's like, dude, this is a great idea. But then COVID was there, and I'm like, well, I can't do it via Zoom. It can't be the same via Zoom. It's got to be a sit down, face to face, where the cameras and everything disappear.
You could do your own version of like the Actors Studio.
Well, that was the idea. It was that. I'm just not as good to pull it off, but that's really what I wanted. That was the example of what I've always. I want that Actors Studio. I want those moments. I got close. I would do some things differently. And then there was another interview we had to change last minute. Ernesto Carrillo was actually one of them, but then he wasn't going to be in DR. I wanted to do it in his aging room, and we're still going to go do that. That's the one that I still want to go do. But yeah, if I do it going forward, I just got to figure out how to, somebody foot the bill for it or something like that. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Super cool.
It is cool. When can we expect? Did you mention, Fred?
I'm hoping. Well, look, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm putting the first one out here probably by the end of the month.
And cool.
There'll be one out every 2 weeks. It was supposed to be April 10th. Like, we timed the show because I remember Abe saying when we picked the show date, he's like, "Well, great, it's going to be old news. You're working with Illusione." I said, "No, I've got something else." And it was literally I was going to drop it right now, but we're still probably a couple weeks out. But right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm probably going to just release them and just it is what it is.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to it. Can't wait. We'll share the link when you drop them here on KMA Talk Radio. Is our man Coupon? Should we bring Coupon?
He just dropped off. I don't know if it was because of a technical issue, but he was all ready to go, and then I just saw his screen go.
Did you say something? Oh,
he's gone.
I may have. I don't know. Oh, he's back. He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back. All right. So Paul,
he's ready to go.
This was a good hint to prep the intro this whole time. So Maybe he'll get this one ready.
In fairness, he disappeared. He did disappear for a second.
No, the last two things he's like late when we the last two.
There's a delay in the server right now. I actually got a message about it earlier, but it's very slight, but it's noticeable.
Maybe the Cadbury eggs are bogging it down.
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably.
So what are you saying? Do you need me to run the video? I mean, what are we doing?
No, I got it.
He's got it. He's got it under control. It's that time. Let's see what our man Coop's got going on this week. It's time for the Scoop with Coop.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
Koopa.
Good morning, everybody.
What's going on, pal? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I got to throw Paul under the bus.
Oh, Christ.
So Paul, we've been now trying to prep up some of the photos to, have them queued up. And Paul goes, I thought you weren't doing the show this week. He's like, I think we're out this week.
I was confused.
Paul was, listen, you have no idea the depths of Paul's confusion. He messages Marissa yesterday. Oh, I'm not doing the show this week. And she's like,
that did happen.
She's like, did you know Paul's not going to be on this week? He says, that's the 23rd.
Right.
And she goes,
geez, man, she throws me under the bus immediately without talking to me first.
Well, she turned around to me and said, you told her you weren't going to be on. I'm like, he's on this. I said, this idiot doesn't even know when he's out of town.
Because Paul and I are out the same week, which is next week. But
so we're actually going on a secret trip together.
Well, my trip wasn't secret. I was in Nashville this week, so it wasn't really a secret trip. But the only thing I'll say about the secret trip is, if there was a disclaimer saying, "Hey, we kept this a surprise," I wouldn't have busted you guys on a secret trip. Saying, "Hey,
I'll make sure I send you notifications for a disclaimer when we take secret trips, Scoop."
That's good. But, I'm not complaining about the invite because I was in Nashville. So I wouldn't have been able to go. But I mean, I know Paul and I were on the sidelines for this one, no question about it.
Hey,
Wes, dude's mind is already on vacation, bro. His life is vacation.
Yeah.
You have a little man lingering behind you. Probably needs like Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah. Hey, but the comment on Fred's series. I mean, he actually shared some of this with me. This stuff is. I'm telling you, this stuff is really cutting edge, high quality. And I heard Fred talking about the concept behind it. I don't think we've seen anything like this before. I know, Fred, you were saying you're not media, but you kind of are. It is kind of a media activity. And it kind of reminded me of, I guess the words I was using is like up close and personal, which we really haven't had that before with some of these industry people. So I know, Fred, I like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to have with the content for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's look, I like I said, it was my first shot at it. I would go back and do a lot of things differently on it. So I'm going to cringe when I watch some of it, but do the personalities involve trump any inadequacies that I have? Yes. And does hearing them tell the stories and share the things, trump that? Absolutely. So it is, yeah, I'm looking. It was fun.
I think it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it as well, for sure.
What are you doing in Nashville?
It was my day job.
It's a secret. It was a secret.
No, it's not a secret. Unlike the cigar industry, like I had a national sales meeting, and we actually really have a sales meeting. It's not like we're running around factories or, smoking cigars. It was like I called it like 3.5 days of torture, to be honest with you. So
torture.
So yeah.
Torture. Wow.
Yeah, people are like, well, you can go to this cigar shop, this cigar shop. I had like one night to go for cigars, and the hotel I was at was beautiful, but you just couldn't smoke there. It wasn't like a really conducive place to enjoy a cigar. So you don't want to enjoy a cigar like a cigarette area. It doesn't really have the same effect. But I did go to Casa de Monte Cristo in downtown Nashville, and fantastic place. Just a great place to go. Great vibe and everything. So if folks are in Nashville, I'd advise checking it out.
Cool. Yeah, listen, I like Tennessee. Nashville's a great area.
Oh, it is. It is. There was some. I mean, it was warm there for this time of the year. Even it was, it was in the 80s and humid, and there was thunderstorms. It felt more like summer there. From talking to people, it was like an early start to summer. But I drove, and it's easy to drive there. When you drive back, you lose an hour with that time zone, and it makes it more challenging.
Do you notice, or do you feel that the people are so polite there?
Yeah, they really are polite.
They really are, man. They're just so So look at Alex. He's like, fuck this. I can see the face already. Who gives a shit if people are nice?
Yeah, as much as
but they really are.
Yeah,
they're really nice.
As much as my hotel, I was like, it wasn't like smoking, and I wasn't thrilled about it. But I can say this: the staff at this hotel was second to none. Super nice, attentive to detail, everything you'd expect from customer service. They delivered on that. So
Are they really polite though? Are they really polite, or is it the accent? Because like English kids, to me, like when you hear a kid in England that's like 4 years old and he says any normal sentence, they sound wicked smart because of the accent.
No, man, they're polite. They're polite in an unprecedented fashion, man. One of the most moving moments of my life happened in was it Gainesville or Nashville? But it was in Tennessee, man. We were having breakfast. We do these road trips, vacations every other year. So we're having breakfast at the country store place. What's it called? Cracker Barrel. Thank you.
Right.
And my kids were a lot younger. This is probably maybe going back 7-8 years ago. And it was my kids, my wife, my sister-in-law, and myself. And, we're just having our normal breakfast, big group, 8 of us. And, at the end of the breakfast, all my kids at the same time in unison said, "Thank you, Daddy." And it was loud enough that people in the restaurant, thank you for breakfast and whatnot. And I guess this old couple was watching us most of the breakfast. And I'm not bullshitting you, man. This guy, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. This stranger, literally, as they're walking out, puts his hand on my shoulder, and he literally just says out of the blue, and where are you getting this? Nobody's saying shit like this, but he's like, "We've been watching you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we've been watching you all morning. And I just want to say I feel very privileged this morning because I believe I've seen a blessed man, and you, my friend, are a blessed man." And it was just like out of the blue from a stranger, man. You're like, and you go and get that stuff in Tennessee, man. They are just like earthly nice people there. I loved it.
Yeah, I'll say this about Nashville though. I think there's so many transplants now in Nashville. It's
is it getting ruined?
No, it's not getting ruined. I think a lot of them just have assimilated to the culture. So a lot of them, I think, just are super nice. I think once you get out of the city, it's a little more that stereotypical Tennessee, if you may, or the natives there. But Nashville's a big city with a lot of people who have moved there from other parts of the country now.
No. That being said, my man, what is going? Do we got any good juicy news?
Yeah, we have a good one this week. Okay.
Let's run it. Let's.
I was bummed I missed last week because I'm never on when Coop's on and have something scandalous for us to talk about. So bring it.
No, this was scandalous this week. Yep.
Ooh,
all right. So this was actually something that my phone started blowing up in the middle of my national sales meeting. I had to turn it off. But Cigar Rights of America got themselves in some hot water this week. There was a post that was put up and a meme, and it was put up on the social media page.
Does anybody have it? Because we were on the plane. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's in the Coop article, by the way. We did capture these before they were pulled down. There's some. You can read the meme for yourself. And there's some controversy on the meme if it excludes female cigar enthusiasts, and if it's offensive to female cigar enthusiasts. Back and forth, it took on a life of its own. I don't think that necessarily was the problem that I saw here, and I think a lot of people missed the boat on what the problem is. Can
we deconstruct this before you do a deep dive? Right?
Yeah.
Put that back up for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we feel, a tool used for social distance yourself away from your wife, children, annoying minors? Now, I've seen 1 million and I've heard 1 million jokes about men getting space from their wives, right? Is this any more insulting than any one of those comments, which are pretty much said every day by everybody?
No, but this is Cigar Rights of America. This is not a Facebook group. And
True.
this
It's where
is
it's
a
coming
group.
from,
This,
I guess, is what.
yeah, it's
True,
where it's coming from. Yeah, that was where this came from. Like, why would and if you go on the Instagram feed, or if you went on the Instagram feed, there was a lot of stuff like that. Some of it was goofy and jokey, and others are borderline offensive. So I get that if that was put up in a Facebook group, a social group, okay, I can see that. This is being put up in a trade association that's funded by people. There's someone actually who is putting this stuff up, like, and not it wasn't just one thing, and it started. A lot of people started like raising questions. Like, I know Carlito was very upset about this when it happened, and I believe that this, like I said, I don't have a problem. Like, the controversy about the meme is one thing, and I actually don't think there's much controversy about it. But the bigger question is, well, what is Cigar Rights for America doing here? Don't they have a social media strategy that aligns with their mission statement? And I think there was a lot of questions that were being raised on that right now. And because of that, that was what the gist of my article was look, CRA's got to kind of their leadership's got to get their social media program in line. And I don't think there's a hard thing to fix, but certainly I don't want to see CRE resources go into stuff like this.
Was there repercussions to the poster?
Yeah. From what I heard, there were some people calling for his head. I personally think this was from what I don't know the person who was doing it. I heard it's a younger person. No,
it's not what I heard.
Okay, I don't know. Like I said, I've heard.
If somebody told me the name, listen.
I think it was the name I heard was Harrison. I heard.
Yes, that's not a younger person.
Okay, he's not a younger person. Okay, I don't know him. Right.
So here's what happened. We were on a flight back when this went down, so I didn't get a chance to see the post, but I read a lot of the aftermath because the post had already been taken down. So I really called John Carney because I saw him commenting with everybody because I figured he knows what's going on. I said, "What did I miss?" And he gave me the lowdown. So, and I'm not here to kick a man when he's down.
I'm not either. And certainly I'm not either. Yeah.
But I need to call stuff the way it is, right? So, we've had a very symbiotic and very fruitful relationship with the CRA for many, many years. They've always appeared at the Great Smoke. Glenn has always signed up hundreds and hundreds of people every year at the CRA, which I would foot the bill for every year. So anybody attending who wanted to join would get a free membership to them, I would buy. So this year, as always, we invite the CRA and we give them a booth. So, this is a booth I could sell to many vendors we had to turn away because of the new venue and whatnot. We give them a booth so they have a place to prop up. And it was right in the middle of where all the people are going around to get the cigars. So every single attendee was going to go by the CRA booth, right?
Yep.
2 hours into the event, I walk by the booth and the tablecloth is not even put on the table. His signage isn't up. Nobody's there. He's attending it like a consumer.
The best way to describe it was the Caldwell booth at PCA.
Literally.
It became a discussion of the media people, by the way, because like I said, probably about 3 hours into it, we're all standing around and we look at what happened to the CRA booth.
We didn't think
literally, he was there like a groupie, like a fanboy, enjoying the day, not doing any of the work he's supposed to be doing with CRA. Signed up 0 members. And outside of introducing himself when he first got there, probably at 10 in the morning, I didn't see him once, nor communicated with him, nor did he seek me out the rest of the event. So to me, that says, holy cow, something is messed up in that organization because, if this is the person they're sending to handle stuff like this, they got the wrong guy because that's
that's one problem, Abe. But the other problem is I think it's a leadership problem. There's been no executive director for almost 2 years now, so it's being run by the board. And when a board runs things, they tend to do this like part time. They're not as hands on to the day to day operations. So clearly,
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Sometimes monarchies are required.
I agree with you, Abe.
You got to put one person in charge and let them live or die by the sword. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you that they cleaned up the Instagram feed after, I don't want to say my article. There were a couple of articles out there and after it was talked about, but it was cleaned up a lot this week. But I think I really think, like, Abe, what you just talked about, and in this example, they have a leadership problem there right now, and it's rudderless. It's rudderless, and if they don't get this back on the tracks fast, this could really be ugly.
So, Fred, as a guy who's kind of a social media guru here, I mean, what's your take on this post?
I think I didn't find the post terribly offensive, but I'm not necessarily the group that would. I think there's a difference in the culture that we have to be aware of now, is that, you put out a post like that and there's going to be a percentage of people that find it humorous, and there's going to be a percentage of people that don't. And if you go back, 5 years ago, the people that don't go, that's not funny, and moved on. They weren't necessarily offended by it. So the idea, and by the way, I don't know that it was the person you mentioned there. I know that person. I've met him. He's a very nice
that's
guy.
why I was careful. I don't want to say that was that person.
Yeah, and I don't know if it is.
Let me clarify. That's what I heard. I don't know.
And if it was, I happen to know that person. He's a really nice guy. So it's indicative of. Do I think this post is horrible? No, because it does not show aggression towards those other parties mentioned in the post. It's not aggression towards the wife, children, or morons. No. It's basically distancing yourself from them. So I don't find it to be an overly offensive post. Do I think that people have taken offense to it? Sure, and I get it. Is now when you're talking about CRH sharing this, you're talking about a group that is supposed to be. Encompassing of all cigar smokers. So there probably should have been a little check going, well, your wife, but we're obviously going to leave out the female smokers. So do I think it's a missed mark for CRA from that standpoint, is because of female cigar smokers? Not necessarily to be offended, but that you admitted the acknowledging their presence in that post. That would be, I think, the misstep there. Damage control. I mean, look, they've always needed to have something in line with what their communications are.
Let me say this. And just to what Abe said, as I think back, the first time I ever came across the CRA and actually signed up for the CRA was at a Great Smoke as a consumer years back. But like Coop said, I think the issue is, it's not necessarily the meme itself, but I would venture to say probably 95% of the CRA members, regular people, couldn't even tell you what the CRA is doing. Now, if that meme was mixed in somewhere just for some, off-topic stuff, lighten it up with information in other posts about what the CRA is doing, what they're about, what's going on, it may not be so bad. But I don't think, like I said, 95% of members of the CRA have any idea what the CRA is doing.
I mean, they should be, like I said, we've noticed a lot lately from a media standpoint. There's been a lot less alerts, a lot less calls to action from CRA. We're actually seeing more of it from the PCA, or frankly, we're reading about it on other websites. About legislation, we're just seeing very little. And I looked at that Instagram feed. I'm like, this is what they're spending time on. And it was, like I said, it wasn't just one. There were dozens of these things out there. And I just think there's clearly a problem there.
So my question is this, which I find interesting. Obviously, look, I don't know how old that graphic is. It's obviously a dated psychology, because most cigar smokers 20, 30 years ago were predominantly considered to be men, right? If it was the other way around, if there was a woman smoking in a chair and the caption was reversed, would this have been a big deal? Would anybody have cared?
No. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Because when it's the minority ruling the social media post, it's not.
Yep.
It would have been laughed at. It would have been discounted. The male side of it would be discounted.
But does that make hold on? Is that a morally, is that a right call, or is that you're just saying that that's just what happens? I mean, does that make it any less insulting or any less offensive?
No and yes. It's not. It's the same exact thing. It's not a perfect world. It's the same exact thing. It's the opposite side of the coin, but its impact is totally different. It doesn't. Look, it's not right. It's not right. It should be just as offensive the other way.
Yep.
It is. It
this
should
is my
be,
point.
But it's not. But that's the point.
As a society, should we not consider the delivery and not the feelings? And look, and this is not just in this situation. I mean, this is like you could do it to anything, right? Mm-hmm. If you just take the action as a standalone thing, isn't that what should be judged? But now the feelings have become more relevant or more important because, like I said, if it was equally offensive, if you flipped it around, then it's without a doubt an offensive thing. Then, in my opinion,
Yes.
right?
Agreed.
Because here it's funny because this whole world preaches on things being equal, but no one really wants to be equal, and that's where you fall in these things because then it's not to be treated equal. Then it's got to be both ways, and it usually seldom ever works out that way in these kind of situations.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting on a psychological level because I don't think as a male smoker or whatever, who was completely reversed and there was a woman there smoking and whatever, I would have thought twice about it. Like you said, I would have said, yeah, all right, okay.
I wouldn't have. No.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I find it very interesting that this really caused a lot of chaos that day. And to Alex's point, is it more of the chaos of the statement, or was the fuel, thrown on the fire because of the lack of what really should be being done at the CRA as opposed to posting irrelevant crap?
Yeah, you see, and that was, I know there were a lot of good comments on that post and stuff, but I think most people missed the point on it. I really do. I don't think they cared that CRA was doing this, right? I hate to say it. I don't think people really cared that CRA was spending resources on this. They were just focused on that one meme. And I'm like, you're asking for fundraising here and resources this is what CRA is. I had a bigger problem, like I said, with kind of agreeing with Alex. It was what are they doing here? Not necessarily that one post.
Well, I don't know. You're all talking about CRA for this whole week. So, maybe it becomes genius.
Marketing. It becomes genius and effective, and it helps get the organization back on track.
And it does need to be in line. Now the answer to that, by the way, Abe, would have been for them to post two versions side by side, one on this and one on this, and which one, say, hey, which one, and do a social experiment on that, where you're calling both sides out and post it as CRA, and all that gets to go be under the umbrella of exposure of cigar smokers. You would have got scot-free, and you would have been able to put out a huge debate, and everybody would have been talking about you, as opposed to picking a side.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously,
it's one of those things that there wasn't really a lot of thought and effort
No.
put into it. They said, "Oh, this is funny. Let me share this and maybe get some people."
Here's a cigar meme. Let's put it up.
Yeah,
I have no other
exactly.
content right now.
Right. But
Look,
when
I bought my first Porsche, I bought a 2-seater Porsche, and someone said, well, you've got kids. And I said, the more kids I have, the more practical that 2-seater becomes. If I said that today on social media, I would have been beat up over it.
Oh, listen to me. The crap that I've probably said out loud about my kids, I'm shocked someone hasn't called, children's services on me, right? I mean, and I'll attest, man, I love my kids more than anything on earth. It's just, it's a different era. It's a different era.
It is.
You have to wrap yourself up with Charmin these days.
No. But the other thing is, I thought the apology was weak too, and I know they apologized, but the apology didn't have anyone's name. Like that apology should have come from CRA leadership with someone's name on it. Whether it was a board member or Mike Copperman or someone.
Nobody wanted their name attached to that.
Nobody, but you know what? That's where again I go back, and right now I'm saying CRA's got a real leadership problem. There's a problem out there. They got to fix this. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got to fix it because it's like I said. I think it's bigger problems than just what they're posting on social media, as you pointed out with the Great Smoke.
Or they risk being non-relevant completely.
They do. They risk. I mean, people. You're counting on membership dues every year, so I mean they counting on those, and they're counting on the money. This is a fundraising thing. You can't just fool around with stuff like that.
No, it's definitely not the tone of that, or the tone.
I think they can fix it. I think they can fix this because there are very good people on that board, and like I said, I think there's attention of people. Whether it's Carlito and Pete Johnson, they're aware of what's happening. I think if anything, maybe that could turn this into a positive. That maybe some change can happen.
All right, what else you got going on, Coop?
All right,
Good
a few
one,
other.
Coop.
Yeah, that was a good one this week. This is from Drew Estate. Once again, Drew Estate is announcing that it will be announcing a cigar. So that seems to be their new strategy right now, right? So they've done this with Undercrown 10 and the 20-acre farm. They're going to put an unbanded cigar out in a something called a Freestyle Live kit, which is going to be available to consumers, and you're going to be able to smoke this cigar unbanded. You're not going to know much about it. There'll be some swag with the kit, and then come in May 12th, they will do a big unveil on the big, this is like the ultimate teaser. So they'll do the ultimate teaser leading up to the event, and you'll find out what the cigar is on May 12th. So it seems to be an effective strategy. It's worked for them. So
wonder where they got it from.
Right?
Just saying.
Aren't they giving away like a Jeep or something at that event or something? Like
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. And there's prizes.
Yeah.
There's
a whole car.
prizes. Yeah. So
Who
there's
gives away a
prizes.
car? I mean, where would they get an idea to give away a car?
A Jeep Wrangler Sport valued at $33,000. There's a Drew Estate barrel bar in there. And there's a bunch of 25 third place prizes. Unfortunately, I'm a media person, so I don't participate in this, but this would have been a pretty cool thing to do.
Listen, I'm not one of those guys that really gets upset. I never mind whether it happened by accident or it happened. But yeah, I mean, Joe Grow was one of the first guys who signed up for our connoisseur club.
Well, it's a good point, and it's a good point. I mean, he signed up for the connoisseur club, and a lot of, but I haven't heard. Has there been a connoisseur club cigar yet that's been announced that's going into regular production?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Which one?
Southern Draw.
Southern Draw, Caldwell.
What's the cigar? What's the cigar?
Well, we don't know the name.
I don't want to hear we don't know what the cigar is. I want to know what the cigar is.
We do. He said it was. He said the name. I don't remember exactly. God, I don't.
He said it. Southern Draw. He said it. He said it on the show that they were going to.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
I believe.
he did say that.
But he's also doing his own with that. This Peccadillo's project's very similar.
This was different. This wasn't that.
Yeah.
This wasn't the Peccadillos. It was something else. He actually did. He did say the name of what it was.
Yeah. But like I say, I think Drew Estate, to the level they've done it at, these are core lines they're releasing, and it's a major part of their innovation strategy in terms of these are some major lines they're rolling out. I just haven't seen anything like what that. I don't know. Is that Southern Draw cigar going to be something that's a big time cigar? Is it going to be? I've seen a lot of companies do stuff like this in the past, and what happens is it tends to be a limited release. I remember CAO did it one year, and it became the CAO Hurricane, which was a very small batch release. So
look, the marketing principle behind this is not out of left field. You are making them feel like they have a vested interest, and you make them feel like they were part of the process, even though they really weren't. You're just releasing it in 2 stages, and that's okay. But they feel like they got to have it before the market, and now when it goes to market and it has the actual box and has the actual band, they get to say, "Hey, I smoked this. I was part of this becoming there." There's nothing wrong with that, and it's not. It doesn't cheapen on either side, but it's a normal marketing strategy if you have the ability to do that.
I'll tell you a funny thing is anybody who, if you've been in this industry long enough, you'll remember companies, a couple in particular, very often would have these promo packs at the register they would come out with sometime a year that had cigar 1 and cigar 2. And as a consumer, you were supposed to smoke it and pick it and check which one out and mail the cards back in because, digital and electronic stuff wasn't up to speed yet. And then they would release a cigar that America picked. And half the time when they sent out that cigar 1 or cigar 2, they'd already made the decision which cigar was making it in the final production. It's very funny.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's our friend Kurt Kendall, too, who actually had a stellar cigar in this month's Connoisseur Club. He said he's going to be.
Broke my heart. Kurt. Yeah. If you'd have said that I would have liked a Honduran Puro, I would have bet and lost money on that. That was a fabulous cigar.
There you have it.
Really was.
Anything else you got going on, Coop?
Just a couple of quick hits. And I want to mention this one because this is a little bit tied with Fred. There's a Manolo Quesada 75th anniversary cigar that's coming out. That will be coming out at the trade show. And what's kind of funny about that is when I was with Fred at Pro Cigar, when I was with Fred at Pro Cigar, he's talking about how he had me convinced he was going to Quesada, not a Luzioni. Without even realizing, because
I didn't say that. You convinced yourself.
I convinced myself because you were talking about Quesada the whole time.
I was just talking. I was going down to see Manola to smoke a bunch of cigars. Which, by the way, the 75th was one of those cigars, but it wasn't. I was joining him.
And I want to clear it. Fred is right. It was me in my head that kind of ran. I said, "Oh, he's going to Quesada. He's not. That's where he's going." Yeah, he was down there. He was playing around, testing blends and stuff, or trying blends. I'm like, he's going to Casada. So I was fooled actually on that one.
It's a great cigar, by the way. I did smoke it.
There's good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of that factory.
Oh,
right now.
there you go.
Oh, hey.
Now you can see it. I just thought it was my glasses.
I googled it and got another one. I used the one Coop gave me.
What's wrong? What was wrong with the one I gave you?
It was fuzzy.
This is. Oh, I deleted the one you gave me already. It's very pixelated.
Okay, I don't know what happened
Anyway.
there, but all right, that's good. And then a final thing is just out of General Cigar, there is a new cigar from CAO, and what's interesting about this cigar, it is called the CAO. I'm doing a Paul moment now. I'll tell you what the cigar is, and then I'll tell you the name. It's a cigar that's being distributed in Canada, and it's actually going to have Canadian tobacco in the filler. It's called the Borealis. So what you need to know about that cigar is if you want to see what you want to get a glimpse into plain packaging for this Canadian release, there you go. That's what if you want to have fun with packaging, and that's okay. But this is what you may be looking at right now.
That's
So,
actually less plain than I expected it.
That's what they're doing in Canada. Yeah, it's like an olive green.
Oh, is the olive green the standard color for everybody?
In Canada, at least. I think that's what kind of some other countries have adopted.
I wonder how they came up with that's the non-offensive color.
I don't know if it's offensive. I think they just tried to come out with something that's like, they didn't come out with pretty pastels or anything like that.
Bland.
They tried to make it look depressing. It's kind of a depressing color. But there is Canadian tobacco in that blend, and I don't think I've ever tracked a release that had Canadian tobacco.
I didn't know there was Canadian tobacco to be honest.
They grow some in Ontario. They grow some in Southwest Ontario, is what they said in the press release. So you'll have to.
Where?
Who woke up Alan Rubin this morning? He was very quiet for a long time. He must have just got on about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, he's been quiet actually. Yeah.
What else you got, Coop?
That's it for this week.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this episode of The Scoop with Coop. Catch more information news at cigar-coop.com. Always rumor and teaser free. All right, time for this week. I got lost because we missed a week. Are you on episode 3 or 4? Tail of the tape.
We're at 7.
Nobody knows.
We're at 7.
Nobody knows.
I can't tell you without opening.
Season 4. This is number 7. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Holy cow.
Season 4, number 7.
You might want to put that in the outline moving forward, Paul. Season 4, Tail of the Tape, week number 7. Let's check out the results this week.
All right, here we go. Tail of the Tape, season 4, number 7, top mascot. So I went with another live guy this week. Some of these live mascots are pretty damn good. And I went with the Georgia Bulldog, man. I'm a Bulldog guy. Look at him, short, stout, kind of like me. So I think they're on their 10th iteration of it. I got the guy buzzing the door in the background, probably wants to make a delivery, but that's all right. He's going to wait. Georgia Bulldog, man. I mean, fully recognizable, my kind of mascot. Live mascot. I dig him. What do you got, Coop?
That's a good one. So this one you had on your list at number 10, but I have him at number 7. It's Gritty, the mascot for the Philadelphia Flyers. And I have not seen a new mascot really kind of capture fans' imagination in a while like Gritty has. And of all things, a hockey team. Gritty's become quickly, Philadelphia is known for great mascots, and Gritty has very quickly ascended right to the top of that. A fun mascot. I just love the orange and the whole thing. And, I think this is going to be one, I think in 10 or 15 years, we're going to be talking about him as one of the legendary mascots of all time. It's just, I put him at 7. I would have put him higher if he was around longer. Yeah.
I was going to say in 10 years, if we came back and did this list, Gritty's way up there in a number.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, there you have it. Okay.
Oh, we're not to the top, right? So there's still other ones that can show up later.
It's week number 4. I was right. It was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's week number 4.
Okay, because there's a couple that I'm like, why are they not on there? Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're
okay.
every week until they get to their
I
number
got it.
one.
So we're just gonna drag this out for a long time.
It's called a season, man.
Until you get to an actual season that everybody is interested in. I got it. I'm with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why don't you reach out to Fred, get a couple themes for a couple seasons?
Wait, did Alan complain about my pick? I'm waiting for Alan to complain about it.
So
I like.
Well, got a lot of complaints today.
They've done boxers, professional wrestlers, mafia movies, and now mascots. What are they missing? Fred?
For me?
Yeah,
well, I don't want to say it because what if they show up? Am I giving anything away if I pick who I'd be on my list?
No, it's a couple of your favorites, but I was saying is you said we're going to wait until they get a season everyone's interested in. What would be a topic that everyone would be interested in? Top 10.
Oh no, I think I like it. I just didn't realize the format of it. I was looking at it, I was confused. I thought they were going to keep going. I didn't realize that was it.
Way to follow the show, Fred. Way to follow the show, Fred.
You have one we should do. We take fan suggestions.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
Okay.
Hashtag us in Tail of the Tape on KMA Talk Radio for your suggestions for next season's Tail of the Tape.
10 top bacons. 10 top publicly purchased bacons.
Quentin, is there 10 types of bacon? I guess so, maybe.
Oh, God, there's way more than 10.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if anybody would know, you would know. Is there a National Bacon Fest?
Oh, yeah.
Because if not, we should put one together, Fred.
Well, there's a couple
the Bacon
of them.
and
There's a
Bourbon
couple
Fest
of them.
every year down here.
Yeah,
Who's the bourbon?
Yeah, we go to ones here.
I'm talking about a bacon, absolute bacon fest. Every possible bacon in the world cooked up.
No. There's four, there's a big one in Chicago. There's a big one in New York, but beyond that, I don't know if anybody has the rights to
Top
it or anything
10
like that.
foods with bacon on it.
Yeah.
Is there really anything that competes with a bacon cheeseburger?
Put the hashtag Tail of the Tape so we can find your comments.
What competes with a bacon cheeseburger? I don't know that there is.
Hashtag Tail
bacon,
of the Tape.
bacon wrapped scallops.
You start talking ramaki, you start talking. There's a whole lot of things you can do with bacon.
Yeah.
Devils on horseback.
Bacon wrapped dates.
I make that. That's
there you go. There you go.
Devils on horseback.
Do you put that ahead of a bacon cheeseburger?
What?
I like them because you put a little bit of chicken liver in the middle of the date.
In competition?
I agree with Alex on that. It's just
just straight up plain bacon's better than bacon on a cheeseburger.
Yeah, well, they said foods with bacon.
Foods with bacon, it would be. Yeah,
does
Tail of the
anything
Tape.
get
Singular,
close?
Kevin.
Yeah.
Tail of the Tape.
No, we'll piss too many people off.
All right.
Oh, they won't complain. Oh, why my cigar on there?
Yeah, right.
Oh man,
the top 10 Tail of the Tapes.
I'm telling you, we do some of those on our prime time. We do our Mount Rushmores, and we get more complaining about that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just do
all right.
Everybody's
so. In typical fashion, we're going to end this week's show with our newest segment sponsored by Gurkha Cigars. But this week, it's going to be an extreme version. It's time for Would You Rather, Mr. Fred Rewey.
Wasn't this our cooking show with John Carney? Didn't we do the Would You Rather every week?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Ooh.
I don't.
All right.
I don't know. But,
all right,
Alex,
this is all up to Alex now,
this
right?
is your week, buddy. Would you rather extreme?
Yes, Would You Rather Extreme Edition for Fred. All right, here we go, Fred. Would you rather have finger-sized nipples or nipple-sized fingers?
I'm going to have to go with finger-sized nipples.
I agree.
I agree. It's practical. You can hide them somewhat. All right. Question number 2.
Shirt off at the beach.
Oh, good. There's more questions.
Two more.
Yeah, there's 3.
Two more.
Would you rather pee every time you stand up or poop every time you sit down?
I'm just gonna have to go poop every time I sit down.
Really?
I'm just gonna bring one of those little, hospital things with me, and that'll just. I mean, that'd be the same for everybody, I suppose. So, or where it depends.
There you go.
All right. Question number 3, last but not least. Would you rather bathe with Coop or shower with Paul?
Wow. How did I get roped into
How did I get roped into this with Paul? Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I'd rather jacuzzi with Abe. I mean, wow.
So would you rather take a bubble bath with William Cooper or a hot steamy shower with Paul?
Hotel tight shower.
If I stall for a minute, the show's over, and I get out of the
we don't have hard breaks anymore, so you're screwed.
You know what? I gotta go to the shower. There's less water mixing scenario.
I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with that answer. I'm fine with that answer, Fred. Just so you know.
The Coop one is probably awesome in a clock tub with candlelight and bubbles in the parlor in the front room of his house.
And Matt Booth disappears through the middle of the bubble.
Yeah, Matt Booth shows up. I mean, yeah.
I mean, listen,
Wow,
if you're in a shower, if you're in a shower with Paul and you really kind of like focus on your eye level, you probably never see him.
Yeah. Hey, this is a solid segment. If you ever want to have guests not come back, this is great. This was
Alex. Listen, this was Alex. Alex kept downplaying my questions, and he wanted his take at it. And,
brutal.
And I'm pretty sure that those 3 questions were toned down.
Oh, probably.
Yes, they were.
Probably. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. You guys are great.
Fred, thank you for joining us, man. Always a pleasure having you on. Coop, thank you for being and your contributions on this Saturday morning. Next week, we've been talking about this for a while. First time it's going to happen. It's going to be a complete KMA takeover from the boys from How About That Cigar. Matt and Garrett will come on. They will be your hosts for a whole show with special guest Nick Melillo of Foundation Cigars. We won't be here. None of us will be here. It'll be strictly their show. They'll be running it, and it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna get to watch it and see what how it goes.
It'll be weird.
As a fan, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So next week, How About That Cigar? I can't do the acronym because I screwed up for some reason. How About That Cigar takeover? Matt Garrett's gonna be here. A lot of fun. We hope you enjoyed your Saturday morning with us. Best way to start every Saturday. If you're celebrating Easter, have a beautiful Easter. If not, everybody, have a great weekend. Until next week, keep it lit.